Hey everybody, it's Charlie from DM Sound, and today we've got the sound system demo on the 2024 Hyundai Sonata and its 12-speaker Bose sound system. This is going to be an in-depth review. We're going to take a look at how the 12.3-inch infotainment system works, take a look at audio inputs, adjustments, controls, speaker locations. We're going to test out the 5.1 surround capabilities of the system, and then we're going to head out on the road and listen to these sample tracks while we're rolling, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Now, if you don't care about any of that stuff at the beginning and you just want to hear the music, click ahead in the video. We've got chapters to get you right to the tunes. And if you want to hear even more on the system, sign up to become a Daily Motor member. Tonight I'm going to record a members-only sound test using songs requested by Daily Motor members like you, potentially. So if you want to see that and support the channel, check the link below. Now before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. Now this, to the keen-eyed observer, is the N-line version of the Sonata, meaning it is higher horsepower, a little more rowdy than you might get in an SEL or a hybrid limited Sonata. I do think I'll probably get some seat time in the hybrid limited as well. That one might have a little bit more sound ending in it, so it's possible the sound system would be a little bit better. But for all intents and purposes, it should be the same system as you're seeing here. So if you do want to see more on the Sonata, check the link below. We're going to have a full review, that members only sound test, and a fuel economy test. Now, we always do these tests with lossless, uncompressed WAV files on a USB stick plugged directly into the system, and high-quality Roland binaural microphones in both of my ears, giving you the most realistic audio system demo on YouTube. We also do the test with the sound settings set to their factory defaults, so let's take a look at those now. If you do want to see a very dedicated breakdown of the 12.3-inch infotainment screen as well as the gauge cluster, check the link below for our infotainment review. But it works decently well. It is very far away, however. My arms fully outstretched here, seat against the seat back. No way I'm going to touch the screen, so I'm going to lean way forward to operate it, but it does respond quite quickly, and we have some physical controls. So I can go to media here, and we're brought up to our USB music screen. To get to sound settings, I can click here and go to sound settings, but it is important to note one thing you will not find in there and only find in this home screen is the Bose center point toggle on and off. That's a little bit frustrating when you're listening using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, because there's no good way to get to that without going to the media screen here. But let's toggle it off and on now. I think actually it's off right now, so let's go on and then off. Not a huge difference between those two. I'll have to experiment throughout the week that I have the car here. Some vehicles, center point seems to sound better, some it seems to sound worse, but in general, it's just an artificial surround sound functionality, and it shouldn't be true to recording, so most of our testing will be done with it off. So now let's go into sound settings. And first you're greeted under premium sound, which I feel like center point adjustment should be in here, but you've got dynamic speed compensated, so as you get going faster, the music will automatically adjust to compensate for that road, wind, and engine noise. I'm going to leave that off because I don't want it to be changing the fidelity of our music at all, but we'll test it on and off as we're driving. And then a maximum volume startup limit. I appreciate having this because this exact thing came up today, and let me just explain. This vehicle got dropped off by the fleet company that handles the vehicles, and somebody, whether it was the fleet company or the previous loan, had been listening to music nearly maximum volume. It was way, way up, something like this loud. I mean, it was ridiculous. And this functionality, the startup maximum volume limit, was disabled. So I turned on Android Auto and I started playing my music, and bam, it blasted me in the ears. I was really thrown off for the next 30 seconds or so. So had that been on, it would have been set to a maximum volume much, much lower and more comfortable. So, like having that functionality, it should always be on. Then you've got front, rear, left, right, fader, and balance for position. That's pretty straightforward. Then treble, mid-range, and bass. Let's go through those. Decent amount of adjustability there. And that is actually it for your sound adjustments. For audio controls here in the Sonata, you have a nice volume knob up here. It's a little far away, but it's got good clickage, and you can press to mute, I believe. Yep. Turns the music right off. And then you have a volume rocker on the left side of the wheel that you can... volume slider on the right side of the wheel, You can also press that to mute it. And then for track selection, you got physical controls here. You can use the touchscreen if you're in the proper menu. You can use the roller knob, depending on what functionality you're using. And you have rockers on the left side of the wheel. So big kudos to Hyundai for keeping so many physical controls in here. They learned quite quickly that people don't like losing their volume controls, and they added them back to their vehicles, and they work very, very well. For audio inputs in the Sonata, you have your standard AM, FM, Sirius XM satellite radio with support for HD radio. You've got Bluetooth, support for wired and wireless, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, USB-C port up there, and the Sounds of Nature functionality. So we'll go through a few of these. We've got Lively Forest, Rainy Day, Autumn Sentiments, and Warmth in Winter, to name a few. So those have definitely grown away from simply sounds of nature as they first were when they debuted on the Korean vehicles, but they're still kind of cool to have. What does that mean you're missing? No 3.5mm auxiliary input jack, no USB-A port, so be sure you got some adapters like these if you want to use the USBs, and no sort of streaming services built in. Not the end of the world, but some newer vehicles are coming with something like Spotify or Apple Music built into them. Speaker locations. As I said, this is a 12-speaker system. Starting in the bottom left, you've got a door woofer 1, tweeter 2, mid-ranger 3, center speaker 4, probably a mid-ranger, 5, 6, 7 over on the other side, coming into the back. Mid-ranger in the door, 8, 9, and then actually those are probably more woofers, and then kind of mid-rangey tweeters, 10, 11, and a subwoofer in the center, making 12. Before we get on the road, we're going to test the 5.1 surround capabilities of the system. I'm not expecting it, but it's possible. It could have 5.1 support. Let's see. Using the immersiveaudioalbum.com surround test. Oh, that was promising.
Welcome to the Immersive Audio Album Channel Configuration Test. Left, center, right, left surround,
Whoa!
right surround.
We've got full 5.1 surround sound
The
support in
Immersive
here.
Audio Album Channel Configuration Test is now complete.
I was not expecting that. In fact, what did I just have? I think it was what was it? Something I was just in recently didn't have 5.1, and it was a much more expensive car than this. That's pretty cool. Now, I don't think a ton of people use 5.1, but that shows a commitment to audio quality that I was not expecting here in the Sonata. All right, well, with that, let's get out on the road. I will say, stop! Before I get into praising this sound system, the amount of times I've been interrupted by this car, both in the members only sound tests and then just driving around listening to my music, has been infuriating. And I know that's a setting I could turn off, but I turned Do Not Disturb on my phone, and that doesn't seem to translate to the vehicle's built-in text message thing. It should make it so that when you're connected to phone projection, Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, it doesn't play your sound, the text messages through. Anyway, what is really impressive with the sound system here is, did you hear how when the drums and the guitar came in there, you still had all of the power. It came in with this very satisfying punch, and there was a fullness to the system that I really wasn't expecting in this vehicle from what the previous Bose sound system sounded like, and also the price point. We're talking about $34,000. That sounds quite good. For this next song, speaking of power, we're going to turn the bass all the way up. We'll see what we get. Nothing really crazy, but it is a pretty full sound. My thoughts on the Bose sound system here in the Hyundai Sonata. Right off the bat, major kudos to both Hyundai and the Bose team for the improvements on the system. The Sonata was lacking, and to be honest, all Hyundai vehicles were lacking in their sound systems. And I'm going to put a little screenshot right up here of my text message thread with Chris Brower when I texted him and I said, was the Sonata N-Line Bose really impressive to you? Because he just had this car a week ago. And he said, yeah, I was really impressed by it. And, alright, again, side note, that car is nowhere near my blind spot. So Hyundai, I'm going to praise you again for the sound system here, but you got to chill it with the blind spot monitoring, because I want to hear if it's going to be an emergency, but multiple times throughout all of my testing, the car has been very clear of my blind spot and you're still beeping. But anyway, I texted Chris and I said, this sounds really good, and he totally agreed. They've made huge improvements to the power, to the fullness. I would say they've gone a little bit too far with the high ends, with the crispiness of this system. You can hear it's really forward facing, the tweeters are really coming through. So I found the best setting, drop the treble down 1, drop the bass, or the mid-range down 1, bring the bass up 2. Just a little bit more fullness to the sound, lets the subwoofer speak a little bit better, but my goodness, is it a huge improvement. Strictly off audio its own, this would only be a B+ system. It's definitely an improvement. It's, like I said, a little bit of that strange tuning, and it needs a little bit more bass to really get up into the full A for sound quality alone. However, I'm still giving it an A rating for 2 reasons on top of the sound quality. One, the price point. The fact that this is about a $35,000 car and you're getting high quality audio like this, big kudos. And then also what it signifies from Hyundai, that they care about making good quality sound systems in their cars now. They want to step up. So they deserve credit for that. A tier here, just sneaking in for the new Sonata. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Bose or the Sonata in general, check the link below. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from DM Sound, and as always, drive on.